America, where everyone has a voice, but too many fail to speak. Too many don't know the foundation of our nation, have never read the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, or the Articles of Confederation, and fail to end up in a voting booth. It's time for change. Welcome to the Voice of Young America with Justin Austin, a platform for young America to voice their ideals and have meaningful dialogue on politics, economics, and social issues. Connect at thevoyatampabay.weebly.com. Now, the host of the Voice of Young America, Justin Austin.
Welcome to the Voice of Young America. I'm your star host, Justin Austin. Now, let's get right into it, folks. We want to just take a moment of silence for those who lost their lives in this senseless shooting and who were hurt, who were injured, and the families that were impacted, and the country as a whole. There's just 5 seconds. Now, let's get into it. So we're going to start with our political section as always, and let's just talk about Washington. One of the things that bothered me the most is something that Buddy said to me yesterday. He said, Washington is bipartisan. The parties actually exist among the people. The people are Republican and Democrat, but Washington is not. And I had to think about it for a second because I was like, wow. But when you think about it, guess what Republicans did? They did exactly what Democrats did when they were in power. Guess what Democrats did? They did exactly what Republicans did when Republicans were minorities. Now, we have these guys who are proclaiming, oh, I'm Republican. I believe in Republican principles. Well, I do too. And I believe in Republican principles so much, I'm actually willing to call out Republicans who don't actually represent those principles. And I got to start with Speaker Ryan. Speaker Ryan, to me, was when he ran with Mitt Romney back in 2012. I was really impressed with the guy. I saw that he was a numbers guy and that he knew his policy and that he wasn't a politician. He was someone who came to Washington to really represent, people of Wisconsin and to represent the people of this country. And he didn't come off to me as a politician, but he became Speaker of the House. And I really thought to myself that, you know what, this guy is going to be that leader that we need. And then he turned into a politician. I was speaking to someone this morning about Mr. Marco Rubio, that he was such a bright and rising star when he came from being the Speaker of the House in the Florida legislature. And then he entered into the foray of national politics. And I mean, he even had a bid for the presidency, which I thought he was a little bit, not ready for at that time. I think it was a good start for him to get his name out there. And then, of course, you plan on losing your first election when you're that young, but you want to get your name out there, get that recognition for your real tribe, which is your second one. It's the way politics works. But Mr. Rubio, he kind of fell short. He first of all, now, even though you are a minority, you don't play the minority game. I'm an African American. First of all, before I'm anything, I'm a child of God. And then I'm an American. And then I'm an African American. Marco Rubio's supposed to be a child of God, then an American, and then a Latino American. But for some reason, he kind of skipped the first two, and now he's a Latino American. I know you have to help this particular population because of the fact that there are not as many representatives, but I would call shame to any black politician who focused on black issues over American issues. Because the real question here is not the fact that we have black issues or Latino issues. We have American issues because the blacks and Latinos are Americans. They're in America. And anyone who panders to a certain demographic is a part of the problem, because once we continue to identify by these titles, we start to focus on that. And then how can I make things better for black people? How can I make things better for Latino people? No, how can I make things better for all Americans? Because that means that whites, blacks, Latinos will all be served. We can never forget that they are here to serve the whole population, not just the one that they identify with. And Mr. Rubio At the same time, tell me how many times has he stepped up in the party? He has become to be honest with you, he's actually attacked the party more than he's actually supported the party. And to a certain degree, that's understandable because the party has been dropping the ball. But he's attacking the party so he can actually gain more voters within the base that he wants. He's not attacking the party because they're stepping away from Republican principles. He's attacking the party because his base wants that. Now, Speaker Ryan, his base back in Wisconsin loves him. He doesn't have to worry about re-election. What he has to worry about is being a poor leader. This guy can tell you the breakdown of how much all of the 90 million of the baby boomers, how much they will be eaten up in Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare benefits. He can break it down probably almost to the person. This guy's no stats and figures like he's a machine. So if a guy is that brilliant, why is he allowing the spending bill to be passed with so much debt inside of it, so much money towards entitlement programs? This is not the same part. Did you read his book? His book didn't have anything about allowing that to happen. When he ran as vice president, didn't have anything about, oh, if I became leader, I'm going to actually increase spending. I don't remember that in his book. I don't remember that in any of his speeches. If you can, prove me wrong. Though, Mr. Trump, They say he was not the Republican Party. He was the Populist Party. He's the president of the people. He was the candidate of the people. And he said the people sent him to Washington to clean the place up with his economic acumen. So tell me what in Mr. Trump's economic acumen would support him adding so much more debt to America? What's in his business acumen that would add so much to entitlement programs and spending? Don't worry, I'll wait. The principles these people are espousing, Mr. Trump, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Rubio, I'm calling out Republicans right now because we're going to get to the Democrats next. Now, being a Republican, I know what that means. I know what it means to me. But then when I look at Washington, it's not reflected there. It's so much hypocrisy. It's so much hypocrisy because Washington is really bipartisan. They are the self team. As long as I can get reelected, that's actually more important than making America great. Let me repeat that. As long as I can get reelected, that's more important than make America great again. If you look at almost any piece of legislation, they have what they call pork. Pork is the fat. It's that extra, piece on the pork chop, right? That nobody really wants to eat. But it's supposed to have some kind of nutrients in it, so it's not too bad. But the pork that's attached to legislation is, let's see, Marco Rubio wanted to create some type of Hispanic museum in Florida. So for him to pass this bill, what he would do, he would say, for me to pass this bill, I need you to allocate $2.1 million to this Hispanic museum in Florida. For Paul Ryan, and I'm not saying this is what occurred in particular, but this is an example of what occurs with every time a piece of legislation is passed. Someone says my community wants to have a dolphin exchange or something stupid like that. So for me to vote for this bill, I need $3.4 million. That has nothing to do with this spending bill, has nothing to do with the immigration bill. But the only way I'm going to pass it is if you give me some pork for my community. Because I got to go back to my community and they're going to ask me, why don't I have this Hispanic museum? Why don't we have this dolphin exchange? So for them to get reelected, they have to actually give their communities things they actually don't need. I'm sorry. If you want a dolphin exchange, Hispanic museum, whatever the case may be, collect some donations in your own community. How about that? Let's start there. Let's stop asking Washington for stuff our communities are supposed to create. So right now, today, I'm going to propose this. 2-term limits, just like on the president, should be for all political offices. Every single one of them. You cannot serve in the House, the Senate, the presidency. You can't serve as governor, You can't serve as a state legislature for more than 2 terms. The Constitution was written based on the fact that men would be of the people. So from time to time, that there would be new men of the people who would go to Washington. And this occurs, but not enough. The leaders of these parties are those who have been in Washington for a very long time. They've been elected. You know, if a senator gets elected 3 times, that's actually 18 years in Washington. A senator's term is 6 years. If he got elected 3 times, that means he's been in Washington long enough for a kid to go to high school, K through 12. That's ridiculous. Democrats are telling you, as long as you identify with the party, like identify with the group, like a section, everything's justified. You identify with LGBTQ, you identify with minorities, you identify with this, and you have a right to do this, and it's right. Anybody who tells you wrong, they're the devil. So the Democrats are telling you that Republicans are the boogeyman. Excuse me. The Republicans are telling you that they're the party of fiscal conservatism and traditionalism when it comes to values. But tell me, where's that actually happening in that? We don't have leaders representing America or American values. We have people who are focused on getting elected. Hypocrisy is in the air. It's always been in the air. It's nothing new. But as the electorate, we are called to point that out and remove those cancers. So what we're going to do here on the Voice of a Young America, we're going to identify who's a cancer to our country. Paul Ryan, cancer. Marco Rubio, cancer. Mitch McConnell, cancer. Chuck Schumer, cancer. Oh, Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican, right? He says that we are going to pass immigration. They put together a deal. It hasn't passed yet, but their deal is to build the border wall. I think it's 18 to 25 billion they want to give to the border wall, and then grant amnesty to the 1.8 million DACA. But we're not going to do anything about visas and lottery visas, and we're not going to do anything about chain migration. We're not going to even have the conversation right now. Please tell me, how does that make sense? Your job is to pass legislation. You go to Washington to pass legislation, but you're going to say, I'm going to do half my job. Tell me anyone right now who can go to work, look their boss in the face and say, yes, I know you gave me 10 tasks, but I'm only going to do 5. Tell me what your boss would say. Go home, find another job. But who's saying to Lindsey Graham, go home, find another job? Because we sent you here to actually act. Last week, I spoke about the business acumen mixed with a politician's ethos, which what we need in Washington. Tell me what businessman goes to the table and says, we need these 5 things, but I'm only going to do 2 because the other 3 I actually don't have to do right now, and you guys can wait. We need to get this deal done, but I'm only going to do 2 parts of it. It makes no sense. You don't do business like that, so why do we run Washington like that? I am disappointed in our leaders. Nancy Pelosi, cancer. Maxine Waters, cancer. I am disappointed in I can call out cancers all day. I'm disappointed in our politicians, but I'm more disappointed in Americans because you're the boss of Lindsey Graham. You're the boss of Chuck Schumer. You're the boss of Nancy Pelosi. You're the boss of Paul Ryan. You're the boss of Donald Trump. They have made you feel like you are the victim, but you're actually the boss because they can't enter into Washington unless you give them the key to the door with your vote. You are powerful beyond means once you become informed and once you become active. I repeat this. You are powerful. The American public is powerful beyond all means once you become informed and once you become active. But how many of you are? How many can raise their hand that's listening and say, I'm active and I'm informed? And if you're not, today you will be. Today you will start to be that American that is needed to make America great again. This is Justin Austin. You're listening to the Voice of Young America. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. Watch what happens on the Voice of Young America YouTube channel. The Voice of Young America on AM 860. The Answer.
I'm Justin Austin, host of The Voice of Young America. When it comes to complete auto repair and fast service, check out the pros at Autoland Center, 1308 East Bush Boulevard in Tampa, providing professional quality work on all American-made and foreign car models. Great pricing on complete auto repair services, oil changes, and brakes. Autoland Center at 1308 East Bush Boulevard, where experience and good service go a long way. Call 813-764-7891. That's 813-764-7891. Autoland Center.
The Voice of Young America relies on committed Americans like you to stand with us. If you're frustrated with the lack of real information being delivered to the next generation, then support Justin's efforts. Connect on social media, thevoyatampabay.weebly.com. Email thevoyatampabay@gmail.com. The Voice of Young America. To inform with truth and broadcast collectively and respectively the diverse ideals of young America.
Finding skilled and unskilled tradesmen can be a problem, whether it's temporary or long-term. Rose Employment Solutions handles all of your workers' comp needs while responsibly solving your staffing problems. You make the call, they do it all. 813-644-5037. And for the quality tradesmen in search of career growth, full-time hours, and multiple pay options, call Rose Employment Solutions, 813-644-5037. Learn more at rose-emp.com or just stop by their office, 1020 West Bush Boulevard in Tampa.
Welcome back to the Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. Connect with Justin by email, thevoyatampabay@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Voice of Young America. I'm your star host, Justin Austin. Before we get into our next section, let's give a shout out to our sponsors at Autoland Center, 1308 East Bush Boulevard, Tampa, Florida. I've been going to Omar for a very long time. This guy always takes care of me, and he will take care of you too. So give him a shout, stop by, let him know whatever problems that you got, American, foreign made, he takes care of it. Now let's get into our next section, which is economics and the inflation. Inflation is coming, people. Inflation is when prices go up. And the reason inflation occurs is because it starts with the basics. The basic of it is the materials, the raw materials that are used to actually make most products. When that price increases, everything else will increase. When the cost to borrow money increases from the Fed to the banks do it to everyone else. So if you want to know why inflation happens, it's because when materials become more expensive and people have more money, that means that it's more money shooting after $1. Let me put it like this. There's more people working. The unemployment rate is lower. Since more people are working, there's more money in the system. When there's more money in the system, that means that there's more dollars chasing after the same thing. So naturally, things will go up. That's the way it works. People feel that in the future, though. I read a report by Bain and Company. It was a report about what's going to happen by the year 2030. That the fact that unemployment's down, inflation is going to rise, but then you have automation. You have the baby boomers taking up 1/3 of the population, which they're not actually going to be working. What they're going to be doing is ingesting all these great benefits that America has. And the people say, well, they've already put stuff into the system. What they will take out of the system will be much more than they ever put in the system. Let's be clear. Facts are facts, and facts don't care about your emotions. I know you love your grandpa, but your grandpa is living longer than he did before. Therefore, he's taking more benefits than he did before. Social Security was not set up when people were living to 90. Social Security was set up when people were living to 65. You got to understand this. Like, it makes sense when you actually look at the numbers instead of just thinking about you love your grandpa. But with that being said, this report states that with the baby boomers taking up more of the federal budget, you have automation that's going to be increasing. More people will lose their jobs to automation. Those on the lower scale of the workplace, and when I say lower scale, those who have the basic skills to work minimum wage in those $7 to $11 jobs, they will be losing out, because what will happen is those who work those $7 to $11 jobs, unless they allow themselves to get more training, they will be replaced by a machine. So all you people screaming about McDonald's workers deserve $15 an hour, once all these machines that they're building are able to take your order, how many people is going to be working at McDonald's? It's going to be 2 people running these machines. And those 2 people will make $15 an hour. Will you be happy then? They're going to go from a staff of having 11 people on at one shift making $8 an hour to 2 people on one shift making $15 an hour. So now you're happy, right? You're going to be happy. Less people will be working, but those less people will be making $15 an hour. The system is set up for opportunity, not for outcome. Let me repeat that. The system is set up for opportunity, not for outcome. So if anybody who's listening who's making $7.25 or $8.25 or $10, I'm not coming down on you. But the best thing you could do for yourself and your family is increase your skill set. I'm not saying go to college. You have to go to college to become a lawyer. I'm saying you need to go to trade school and actually get a trade that won't be replaced by a robot. Once you have knowledge, you have responsibility. I'm giving you the knowledge. In 12 years, most of the jobs that a lot of low-skilled workers are doing will not be here. So if you are listening, you will not have a job unless you go get some skills beyond flipping a burger. Oh, let me tell you a secret. You can go to Irwin Tech right now, take your Pell Grant, and it'll pay for all of your trade school. If you didn't hear me, you can take a Pell Grant right now, go to Irwin Tech, and go get a trade in AC, which pays, if you're a good AC guy, you're making $18 to $25. This is here in Florida. Go get your electricity trade. Right there, 15 to 22. If you're a master electrician, you're pulling 25 to 30. Go get a trade right now. A machine can't be an electrician. So boom, you're good there. Or even go into the medical field. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a low skilled worker and you don't want to be considered a victim in 12 years, go get a trade. If you have children coming up in this world and you are afraid of their future, you don't know what's going to happen to them. Maybe they're not the brightest one. Maybe they're not the next Donald Trump. Maybe they're not the next Jeff Bezos. Maybe they're not the next Bill Gates. But they are a kid who can develop a work ethic and who can learn things. Put that kid in a trade. Don't wait till he's 18, 19 to say, man, 21, this kid can't find a job. Right now, when he's 14, 15, 16, find out what he can do with his hands. Matter of fact, find out if he can use a computer. If he can get an IT job, which Irwin Tech teaches tech too as well. Pell Grant covers IT. Get him into IT right now. Don't wait till he's 18, 19, doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. Right now. The millennials right now are facing so many problems. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to break this down to you. And you want to say, Justin, where you get your experience from? I was a trade recruiter. I was a recruiter for skilled trades and construction. I was a recruiter for hospitality, which a lot of millennials go through there, whether they're day laborers or whether they're housekeepers or housemen or banquet service. You know what happens is, Mr. Justin, I want a job. Oh, do you? Yes, I want a job. You're a hard worker? Yes, Mr. Justin, I'm a very hard worker. I say, okay, well, I got an opportunity, starts tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Are you interested? Yes, sir. My family's going to be so happy, so proud. I got a job. Boom. I'm like, dude, I do this because they pay me a nice amount of money, but I get pleasure by helping you put food on your table, clothes on your kids' back. If I'm helping your family out, this is way bigger than any paycheck I can get. 7 o'clock rolls around the next morning. Guess who's there? Not that guy. But the system is against me, and everybody wants a job until they have one. You want to know why millennials have problems on the job? Because they can't put their phone down. Tell me, if you owned your own company right now, right? And you expect so many orders to be completed or so much productivity, how can you expect that if someone's on their phone talking to their boo thing? Or if they're on Facebook checking the latest puppy picture their honey boo sent them or posting online? Or the fact that, you want to see what she's eating for lunch because she posts every picture of her food. I have no sympathy for millennials who can't find jobs. First of all, it's a lot of you giving each other bad names. You got to understand, why would I want to hire someone who won't be productive? Don't worry, I'll wait. People are used to walking onto a job, doing as least as possible, walking away with a check. And if they can't do that, the system is rigged. But what does that start, right? You didn't get your first job. I got mine at 14. Actually, let me take that back. I used to clean my uncle's bail bond shop when I was 11. I would bike 5 miles from my house to my uncle's bail bond shop at 11 to go make my $10 that I would make on that Saturday morning. And that was the birth of my work. No, actually, that's a lie. I used to actually wake up on Saturdays with my brothers, cut our grass, go knock on every single door in the 5-mile radius while pushing a lawnmower up and down the street to make my water gun money, to make my mall money. We are 10, 11 years old pushing lawnmowers up and down 5th Avenue, 4th Avenue, 3rd Avenue, 2nd Avenue, 1st Avenue South. Then we hit 1st Avenue, 2nd Avenue, 3rd Avenue, 4th Avenue, all the way to 22nd Avenue North, until we made enough money to buy our water guns or go to the mall or go see a movie. This is 10, 11 years old. I'm talking about guys who are 21 who, if they don't even know how to work 8 hours straight, but I can push a lawnmower in a 10-mile radius and cut 10 yards with my brothers and pick up leaves. You want to know why you can't find a job? You're the problem. If you don't have work ethic, just do yourself a favor. Just go buy as many ramen noodles as you can and just go to the homeless shelter right now, because you're wasting your time. This world is set up for opportunity, not outcome. America's set up for opportunity, not outcome. So everyone is given opportunity, not the same type of opportunity, not the same level of opportunity. Let's not because if I was born Bill Gates' son, I have more opportunity than being born as Letitia Austin's son. Point blank, period. So I'm realistic of that. But more so than that, if I'm a parent and I know I'm in a low socioeconomic neighborhood, right? And I know I don't want my kid to actually be in that. In his generation, I want him not to live in the same neighborhood as I, because let's face it, it's drug infested. So I want him to live in a better neighborhood. What can I do for my kid? Wow. The first thing you can do for him is be an example of what hard work, good character looks like. But more so, teach them how to work. Oh, I don't want my kid to have it hard as I did, but how did you get anything by working hard? I don't want my kid to have as hard as I did, so I'm not going to teach them to work hard. So when they go to that job and they're lazy and they come home and say, Mom, I need $10, but you got a job. Well, I did have a job. I was on my cell phone too much. I was looking at pictures of my girlfriend's food all day. I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm actually saying it with love. If someone doesn't tell you right now that the job that you're working today will not be available to you in 10 years, they're hurting you. If any parent right now is not looking at their 13, 14-year-old son or daughter and saying, you know what, they don't want to be a lawyer, they don't want to be a cop, they don't want to be a politician, they're going to be in the workforce. They might not even go to college. But I'm going to make sure my son knows that he can go to this trade school and go get an IT degree. He can go to this school and go get some type of medical certification. He can go here and become an electrician or a carpenter, something that will not be replaced and something that will make enough money for him to take care of his family. And he won't even have to worry about Uncle Sam. Tell me, how can you be considered a parent if you don't identify your child's strengths, identify what the future of America looks like, and then help him go after that? Basic economics, 1 + 1 = 2. Hard work plus opportunity equals outcome of a good nature. That's just point blank, period. You won't ever be Jeff Bezos if you don't have work ethic. Oh, another thing too, right? I said this last week. How many of you say the stock market is not for you, but you want Jeff Bezos' money? How many people would love to have that Wall Street bonus, right? You know how hard those guys grind? You might not like Wall Street people, but you have to respect their grind. They are some of the hardest working people in America, motivated by the wrong thing, but they are some of the hardest working because they don't sleep. They grind. How many people listening right now can say, I sleep a little bit, but I grind so hard that when I do sleep, it's actually worth it? I mean, I haven't slept in 36 hours because I was grinding so hard. When's the last time you said that? Then you deserve Jeff Bezos money. When you can say, I put so much into these last 48 hours, my fingers are bleeding, my feet have corns, I've been grinding so hard. Then you deserve Bill Gates money. If you can't say that your grind is so hard that anyone who comes in contact with you, they automatically start grinding too, because it's contagious. It's contagious. Your son or daughter should be infected with your grind, infected with your love, infected with your values, because you go so hard every day. This is Justin Austin, Voice of Young America. We grind hard for America. And I'm going to keep grinding. And it's going to touch you and affect you. We'll be right back, man.
You're listening to the Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. Connect with Justin at thevoyatampabay.weebly.com. The Voice of Young America on AM 860. The Answer.
I'm Justin Austin, host of The Voice of Young America. When it comes to complete auto repair and fast service, check out the pros at Auto Lens Center, 1308 East Bush Boulevard in Tampa, providing professional quality work on all American-made and foreign car models. Great pricing on complete auto repair services, oil changes, and brakes. Auto Lens Center at 1308 East Bush Boulevard, where experience and good service go a long way. Call 813-764-7891. That's 813-764-7891. Auto Land Center.
The Voice of Young America relies on committed Americans like you to stand with us. If you're frustrated with the lack of real information being delivered to the next generation, then support Justin's efforts. Connect on social media, thevoyatampabay.weebly.com. Email thevoyatampabay@gmail.com. The Voice of Young America. To inform with truth and broadcast collectively and respectively the diverse ideals of young America.
Finding skilled and unskilled tradesmen can be a problem, whether it's temporary or long-term. Rose Employment Solutions handles all of your workers' comp needs while responsibly solving your staffing problems. You make the call, they do it all. 813-644-5037. And for the quality tradesmen in search of career growth, full-time hours, and multiple pay options, call Rose Employment Solutions, 813-644-5037. Learn more at rose-emp.com or just stop by their office, 1020 West Bush Boulevard in Tampa.
Welcome back to the Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. Connect with Justin by phone. Call 813-516-6851. 813-516-6851.
Welcome back to the Voice of Young America. I'm your star host, Justin Austin. Thank you for joining us. Before we get into our next session, I want to give another call out to our sponsor, Rose Employment Solutions. You make the call, they do it all. 1020 West Bush Boulevard, Tampa, Florida. If you're a tradesman looking for work, give them a call. If you're a day laborer looking for work, give them a call. If you're a company tired of rent-a-drunks and you actually want quality labor guys, give them a call. I know this guy personally. I've worked with this guy personally. Rose Employment Solutions. You make the call, they do it all. Now let's get into our next section. This is very dear and near to me. And let me put it like this. My beautiful fiance. And folks, I'm getting married in a couple of weeks, so all that good stuff, right? But we were talking, and she's Young America too. And I was saying to her, I said, sweetheart, what's something that you would like to hear? Because I don't want it to be the voice of Justin Austin, it's the voice of Young America. And I always try to get feedback from any peers or anyone that I come in contact with when I tell them about the show, and I try to pique their brains and see what do they think. And I was like, what is something that will like make you turn up the radio if you heard this topic being discussed? And she said education and then children. And then, I asked her to expound on that. And it was what's going on with our kids today. And then this was 2 days, just a couple of days ago. And then the shooting happened on Wednesday. And it was already set up for me to discuss what's going on with our kids. But what's going on with our kids? This, it's not even an incident. This tragedy, this atrocity that occurred on Wednesday in Florida, which, this show is from Florida, and we're about a couple hours away from where it took place in Coral Springs. And you hear all this. Someone was like, 5 seconds after the shooting happened, Twitter lit up and people were, saying this and that, saying that. I looked at USA Today this morning, and it said, Florida legislator would not give more money on top of the $64.4 million that is used already for SROs, safety resource officers that are on school campuses. And yeah, if you would have had 6 SROs at that school, what would have happened? He would have pulled the fire alarm, kids would have ran out, he would have shot them and got shot himself. And instead of 17 dead and 14 hurt, it might have been 7 dead and 10 hurt. I totally agree. It would have minimized the destruction. But would it have prevented the destruction? Are these SROs standing at every single door in the school? Are these SROs checking every single bag? How about, can an SRO stop napalm? Or one of those little fire bombs that these kids create in their room? No, don't worry, I'll wait. No, they can't. Oh, okay. So if it's not the SRO, that won't fix the issue. Now, that's something I agree could be helpful, but won't fix the issue. So let's think about this then. The guns, right? They're using semi-automatic weapons. So if we took all the semi-automatic weapons off the street from people who can actually purchase them legally, that means that the cops and the bad guys are only ones with semi-automatics. Because you think the bad guys going to stop actually getting illegal guns because you took them out of the hands of legal people? Don't worry, I'm waiting for answers. That doesn't work either. Okay, so it's not the SROs, it's not the gun laws. Okay, boom, mental health. Okay, these kids have mental health issues. So if we give everybody a Percocet or a Xanax or some what they call psychedelic drug. What that's going to help? No, because guess what? What does a pill do for your spirit? Let me ask you one more time because you might have not caught it. What does a pill do for your spirit? What pill can you take today that will turn a negative spirit into a positive spirit? And if you got that drug, you are the next Jeff Bezos. You're the next Jeff Bezos. If you have that pill that will make someone's spirit holy, healthy, and happy, you will just rejuvenate and change the world. But it doesn't exist. So gun laws, very important. SROs, very important. Mental health opportunities and programs, very important. But what's actually going to prevent that tragedy or atrocity for repeating itself? Because if we look since 2018, this atrocity occurred on February 14th. That means that 31 days in January plus 14, that's 45 days into the year, and we've had how many school shootings? Way too many already. I can count at least 5 off the top of my head, and I think it's been 8. But we give more cops. If we have more cops, we have tighter gun laws and mental health pills, then everything's going to change. Nope. We have a mental health problem. I totally agree. But what we have an epidemic of a spiritual health problem. This kid had hate in his spirit. That's why this occurred. We have a society that says anytime something goes wrong, there's someone to blame that's not yourself. We blame the gun laws. We blame the Florida legislature for not allotting enough money. And we blame Republicans because they don't want to pass mental health law bills or whatever, give more funding to mental health. Instead of saying, how can we build up someone's spirit to the point where no matter what happens, they're still a good person? My bad. I know. I'm talking like I'm from the 1950s and the 1800s. No one talks like this anymore. I know. I sound so strange. Why won't we focus on building up a spirit within our children that is so great, so magnificent, and so resilient that no matter if they encounter being bullied, I'm still good. No matter if you encounter racism, I'm still good. No matter if you encounter financial adversity, I'm still good. Don't matter if your teacher walked up to you and said you're a loser and you look up to him and say, nah, my spirit won't even allow me to accept that, bruh. Oh, go outside and kids like, oh, come smoke, let's have sex. And nah, my spirit won't even let me do that, bruh. How many people right now listening can raise their hand and say that their spirit is so strong right now? If someone said a racial slur to them, if someone told them they won't ever be anything, that their spirit is so strong that their only response is, bruh, I can't accept it. How many people have raised children where their spirit is so strong when that kid asks them to do something they shouldn't be doing, that kid's like, nah, my spirit won't allow it? If you're not doing that, you're part of the problem. Any parent that is creating a spirit of weakness, you're part of the problem. I had the opportunity to speak to a lady yesterday. She was 85 years old. She said she had freckles and red hair growing up and that she was told that she was ugly. And then one day somebody looked at her and looked her directly in the eyes and told her she was beautiful. And the lady was like, what? I don't know what to say because people always tell me I look funny looking. She was like, no. She said, eyes are the doorway to the soul. Your spirit is so beautiful. And she said, ever since that point that lady told her she had a beautiful spirit, it's nothing you could say to that woman. She's 85 years old. She said, that's how. And on top of that, she said that once I recognized how strong my spirit was, I wouldn't even let you can't even steal my joy no more. It's nothing that you can do to take away from my joy. What are we creating? If you want to know what's going on in America, why Donald Trump is our president, because he was the lesser of two evils, but why he had the opportunity to become president. Why did Hillary Clinton have the opportunity to become president? Why are our leaders acting the way they do? Why can they force feed you bullcrap on CNN, Fox News, and all this other stuff? Why can they put bad music into your brain? Why can they do all this? Because your spirit is weak. The reason why America looks the way it is because Americans have a weak spirit. They don't. Okay. Let me break this down. The reason why you don't have work ethic because you have a weak spirit. The reason you don't have a holy, happy family because you have a weak spirit. The reason you don't trust your wife because she has a weak spirit. The reason your wife don't trust you, you have a weak spirit. The reason your kids don't respect you, you have a weak spirit. The reason you don't trust your kids, they have a weak spirit. The reason we don't trust Wall Street, they have a weak spirit. The reason that we don't trust anyone, we don't trust their spirit. But let's talk about this, right? And I'm calling out everyone. Boys and Girls Club, I just resigned after 2 weeks. Why? The biggest problem was that they weren't representing what the Boys and Girls Club was supposed to be representing, just like education doesn't. Education is to train someone in wisdom and virtue. Before there was one school in America, before there were any major colleges, there were a few. This was the maxim. This was the motto. Education, universities, schools are there to train people in wisdom and virtue. on top of the parents training them in wisdom and virtue. You want to know why America looks like what it is? Look at your own spirit. You can be moved by anything that happens in this world. Why? You have a weak spirit. When these kids are going to school and they're being bullied or they're having adversity, the reason why they're flipping out and want to look at the suicide rate. Why do you think suicide occurs? Please tell me you have the answer. A weak spirit. Let's identify the things that build up the spirit. Music is something that doesn't really go to your mind. You can feel it in your body, but music is the number one thing that goes to the spirit. Why do you think we have worship and praise? Why do you think before church sermon starts, you have to have worship and praise? Because your spirit needs to be in the right place to accept this message. What if we did worship and praise before we actually even taught a kid anything in class? What if we put their spirit in a place where they can actually receive the message? Okay. Before a football game, what do? They pray. Oh, almost, not anymore. It's actually almost illegal now to pray before a football game. But they want to get their spirit in the right place with God so they can actually achieve on the football field. The spirit is built up through music, through daily interaction, through writings and reading. So what music is your child listening to? Don't worry, I'll wait. What images are being projected to their minds that's going to their spirit? Don't worry, I'll wait. What examples are they seeing between their parents? Don't worry, I'll wait. How do kids choose friends? They choose people who are like them. So who your child is choosing, they're choosing people who are weak-spirited like them. Because you are who you hang with. Tell me one person that's completely poor that hangs out with Bill Gates, and I promise you 6 months later that I do got some money in his pocket. I guarantee you, if someone spent time with Bill Gates who had no money, in 6 months that man gonna have money in his pocket. You know why? You are who you hang with. And Bill Gates, he's a hustler. So you're going to get some of his spirit. Who are your kids hanging out with? They're hanging out with people with weak spirit. Who do you hang out with? If they was to say, I'm going to do what my parents did, right? If someone was to wake up and say, I'm going to do a direct reflection of what my parents did, would they say, I'm going to go out and hustle? Would they say, I'm going to go out and grind? Would they say, I'm going to make sure every night I get to my knees and pray for my kids because that's what my parents did for me? Every night, you know what? I'm going to, man, dude said, Jacob Dobson, reading his book, every Tuesday he would fast, him and his wife, and every Tuesday night, they would set aside time just to pray for the spirit of their children. How many of you are fasting for your children? How many of you have set time aside to just pray for the spirit? You have created what you have today. The reason why America looks the way America looks like, because your value system is non-existent and your spirits are weak. If anybody tell you it's a gun issue, SRO issue, money issue, mental health issue, they're lying to you. They're messing up your head, brother. Even more. It's a spirit issue. If we get the spirits of Americans to be strong in faith and values, well, man, y'all, if you're not part of the solution of building healthy spirits, you are part of the problem, and you have attributed to the atrocities that have happened and will happen. This is the voice of young America. If you can't take the truth, turn off the radio. If you can't build up a spirit, you ain't gonna like me, because I'm gonna crush yours. My name is Justin Austin. Be blessed.
You've been listening to The Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. The Voice of Young America relies on committed Americans like you to stand with us. If you're frustrated with the lack of real information being delivered to the next generation, then support Justin's efforts. Connect on social media, thevoyatampabay.weebly.com. Email thevoyatampabay@gmail.com. And be sure to join us next Saturday evening at 6 for the Voice of Young America here on AM 860. The Answer.